Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions in my past videos about what should I eat exactly to cure my depersonalization. So today I'm going to take you with me to the grocery store and I'm going to teach you how to grocery shop. Let's start off with the things that you can't eat. Do not eat anything that comes from an animal. What does that mean? Butter, milk, meat, ham, eggs. All these things come from animals. If it comes from an animal, don't eat it. If you're wondering, does your pasta sauce, can you eat that? Look on the ingredients. Does it have anything that come from an animal? If it does, don't eat it. Always look at the ingredients to see if things have any animal products. If it has animal products, do not eat it. Okay. The second thing is no oil. No oil. No olive oil. No avocado oil, coconut oil. No oil at all. Okay. If you're wondering if your prepackaged foods, if you can eat that, all you have to do is look at the ingredients. Check the ingredients to see if the food has oil. If it has oil, don't eat it. Okay, so here we've got rice. Rice is definitely a staple food. It should be in the top 3 foods that you eat. Rice is the best for helping you with anxiety and depersonalization and make you feel calm. Here I'm showing you some of the different prices. Just get the cheapest one. All rice is the same. It could be white rice, it could be brown rice, whatever tastes good to you. I always get their cheapest rice, not the ones in the box, because usually the ones in the box have other ingredients. They could have oils. So I try to stay away from these. I just get the rice that is, in the bags. These are a little more expensive. You don't need to get the expensive ones. Just get the cheapest ones at your store. Yeah, like I said, I try to avoid the boxed foods. Usually they have other oils or ingredients, but you can always check the ingredients. Here we've got legumes. So we've got some pinto beans. Pinto beans are great. They're good to eat. They're not in my top 3 foods that I eat, but they're a good food. If you enjoy eating beans, definitely get some beans. If you don't like beans, don't even worry about it. You don't have to eat beans. But there are a lot of different kinds. We've got black beans. These are peruano, which are Peruvian beans, pinto beans, lentils. There's a bunch of beans to choose from. If you like beans, I would have them with beans and rice, maybe some tortillas. Like I said, I always try to get these foods that are in the bags, because usually those will just be, just a plain rice or the plain bean that you have to cook yourself. Here we've got spices. All spices are good spices. Usually the dry ones are the best because you know that they don't have any oil. If they're spices that are packaged in a bag and it's sort of liquidy, then sometimes they have different ingredients like oil, and sometimes they have animal fats in them. So I always like to go with the dry spices. We got coffee. I do not recommend people eat coffee. Caffeine, theobromine, which is in chocolate, and other stimulants are bad for anxiety. Here we've got some prepackaged foods. If you read in the ingredients, we can see that a lot of the times these foods have oil in them. Grasa vegetal, which means vegetable oil. So I'm in Mexico right now, by the way, so that's why these ingredients are in Spanish. But it's the same thing. When you go to the grocery store, it's always best to check out the ingredients. That last clip you saw was sugar. Sugar is definitely my top 3 foods. Here we've got flour, corn flour, wheat flour. These are great foods to cook yourself. Here we've got some hot cake or pancake batter. A lot of times I try to stay away from those. This is the liquid version of the pancake batter, and if you read the ingredients, it actually has oil. This is almond flour. I would not go for almond flour because it's higher in fats. It's basically just, pulverized almonds. Almonds are very high in fat. I would choose the corn flour or the wheat flour over these things. Peanut butter, I don't really recommend it. It's very high in fats. I like to stick with high carb foods. Here's we have maple syrup. This is actually made with the corn syrup. I forget what it's called. High fructose corn syrup. Sorry. I would say you can't eat that. This is Nutella. I would not eat the Nutella simply because it's just too high in fats, and it's got a lot of oil in it. So don't do the Nutella. If you check the ingredients, you'll see that it has a lot of oil. Here we've got Smucker's jelly or jam. I definitely approve jam and jelly. They're usually made with no oil and a lot of fruit and sugar, which is on my top 3 foods. So I definitely approve jams and jellies. Really good with some breads, which I think is coming up next. But jams and jellies are good. Any flavor that you like, definitely pick up some jam. Here we've got canned fruit. Canned fruit is great. It's usually served in syrup. So it's just really good. Again, it has the sugary foods with the fruit. Here we've got some more canned fruit. Got some peaches. These are really good as well. And then we've got gelatin. Gelatin I actually do not approve because it has animal foods. Gelatin is made with animal bones, I think. So I wouldn't necessarily eat that. I'd much rather eat fruit. Here we've got bread. So actually this bread was in my past video, and it actually came to my attention that it has oil in it. So I actually picked up a different kind of bread nowadays. Here we've got frozen fruit. Here's Ezekiel bread. This one is actually made with no oil. You usually find this in the freezer section of your grocery store. So Ezekiel bread is definitely a good thing. I would pick Ezekiel bread over the regular bread in the aisle. Here we've got sodas. Sodas are good, but they're not too good for your teeth because of the acid in them. If you're in a pinch, definitely soda's okay, but I would stay away from any soda that has caffeine like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Chips I do not recommend because they are made with a lot of oil. So chips are not on my list. Here we've got some juices, some fruit juices, definitely good on my list. We've got canned beans. Those are pretty good, but a lot of people find them to be bad in their digestion. So if that happens, you don't have to eat beans. Here we've got like a prepackaged pasta, which if you read the ingredients, it has oil. Here's a prepackaged soup. Mac and cheese. All these things usually have oil in them. Sometimes they have animal products, so I do not recommend them. Here we've got some ramen. You can find ramen with no oil, but most of the ramen on your aisle is gonna have oil. You can make spaghetti yourself, and you can make it with no oil, so this is definitely approved. Then we've got beans, mayo. Mayo is definitely a no-go because it's made with all oil. It's basically 100% oil. We've got barbecue sauce and ketchup. Those are good on my list. Like I said, always check the ingredients, but usually barbecue sauce and ketchup have no oil in them. Those are good to go if you want to season your potato or whatever. Here we've got like some soy sauce and stuff. Usually soy sauce and Maggi seasoning are good. They usually have no oil in them, so those are good to go. Most hot sauces have no oil. Those are good to go. We have a Salsa Verde, canned salsa, and I believe this one has some animal fats in it, some lard, so I wouldn't recommend that. But this one actually doesn't have any oil in it, so it's always a good idea to understand how to read the ingredients, because some salsas are very high in fats. Some, if you keep looking, have actually no fat, so it's always good to look. Here we've got some bouillon. Usually are made with chicken and oil, so I wouldn't recommend that, but you can find a broth that doesn't have it. Here we've got some and the last one we had the oatmeal. Oatmeals are pretty good, but always check the ingredients. Here we've got some plant milks. Just like I said, always check the ingredients, make sure it doesn't have too much fat in it. You want to avoid the fats because that's going to make you fat, and it's also going to inhibit the uptake of the sugar or the glucose that you need, because your brain needs that stuff to feel really happy and calm. So you want to avoid the fats and get as much sugar and carbohydrates, starchy foods, sugary foods as you can, while avoiding the fats. That's the important part. Avoid the fats. So always read the ingredients. Anything in your vegetable aisle is going to be good because obviously it's just a whole food, so you can eat anything for vegetables. Oil, here's an aisle with just all oil, and I would avoid the oil. I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments, and I'll try to answer any questions that you have. Thanks. Peace out.